Okay, so let me tell you something that almost got me into serious trouble. I'm driving Uber. App is on, no passenger in the car. I'm just cruising around Edmonton waiting for a ping. And I get into a fender bender. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Uber's got me covered, right? Wrong. Because here's what I didn't know at the time. Uber's insurance in Alberta doesn't actually start until you accept a trip. Not when you log in, not when you're just waiting, only when you tap accept. And my personal car insurance, they didn't even know I was driving for Uber. So as far as they were concerned, I wasn't covered for that either. That right there, that moment between logging in and accepting a ride, that's the gap. And it's the gap that no one talks about. And if I had been in a serious accident in that moment, I would have been paying for everything out of my own pocket. So if you drive Uber or Lyft in Canada, even part-time, even just on weekends to make some extra cash, you need to hear this before your next shift. Because I was doing this for months before I actually understood how my insurance worked. And I work in insurance. I'm Murthy. I drive rideshare here in Edmonton, Alberta, and I also work in the insurance industry. So I've seen this from both sides, as a driver sitting behind the wheel and as someone who knows how these policies actually work. And what I can tell you is that most rideshare drivers in Canada are driving with at least one gap in their coverage. Most of them don't know it, and the ones who find out usually find out after an accident. I don't want that to be you. So let me break this down as simply as I can. When I first started driving for Uber, I did what most drivers do. I signed up, got approved, and just started driving. I figured Uber has insurance, I have insurance, so I'm covered. Simple. That thinking is wrong, and it's actually a really expensive kind of wrong. Here's the thing. My personal car insurance, the policy I've had for years, that's built for personal use. Me going to work, me going to the grocery store, me picking up my kids. The moment I turned on the Uber app and started getting paid to drive strangers around, I crossed into commercial territory. And most personal auto policies in Canada specifically exclude commercial use. So what happens if I get into an accident and I never told my insurer I was driving for Uber? They find out, and they will find out. They always do. And they can deny my claim. They can cancel my policy, and I'm left with the repair bill, the liability, all of it on my own. Now you might be thinking, but Murthy, Uber has insurance. Why do I need to worry about this? And yes, Uber and Lyft do provide commercial insurance, but here's the part that matters. How much they cover depends entirely on what you were doing at the exact second that accident happened. So in the insurance world, they break your rideshare shift into 3 periods, 3 of them. And understanding these 3 periods is honestly the most important thing you can take from this video. Period 1. App is on, you're waiting for a ride. This is where I was when I nearly got burned. I'm logged into the Uber app, no passenger, just waiting for someone to request a ride. And in this moment, I'm in a gray zone. My personal insurance doesn't want to cover me because I'm technically in commercial mode. But Uber's commercial insurance hasn't fully kicked in yet either because I haven't accepted anyone's trip. Now here's something specific to Alberta that a lot of drivers don't know. Uber's insurance policy in Alberta only starts when you actually accept a trip, not when you log in, not when you're just waiting, only when you tap accept. And my personal car insurance, they didn't even know I was driving for Uber. So as far as they were concerned, I wasn't covered for that either. That right there, that moment between logging in and accepting a ride, that's the gap. And it's the gap that no one talks about. And if I had been in a serious accident in that moment, I would have been paying for everything out of my own pocket. So if you drive Uber or Lyft in Canada, even part-time, even just on weekends to make some extra cash, you need to hear this before your next shift. Because I was doing this for months before I actually understood how my insurance worked. And I work in insurance. Lyft is actually different. Lyft's insurance partner in Alberta is Aviva. And Aviva covers you from the moment you log into the Lyft app. So if you're a Lyft driver here in Alberta, that gap is closed. But if you're Uber, you need to be aware of it. And the fix is simple. You call your personal insurance provider, you tell them you drive rideshare, and you ask them to add an endorsement to your policy. In Alberta, that endorsement is called the SEF 6A. It's a small addition, usually costs you an extra $20 to $40 a month, and it fills that gap. That's it. Period 2. You've accepted a trip and you're heading to pick them up. The moment I tap accept on a ride request, everything changes. Uber's commercial coverage kicks in. In Alberta, that's $2 million in third-party liability coverage. That stays in place from the moment I accept the trip all the way until the passenger steps out of my car. $2 million is serious coverage. That's real protection. Period 3. Passenger is in the car. Same deal. Full commercial coverage. This is actually the safest moment in my shift from an insurance standpoint. So the one to worry about, period 1. App on, no passenger, waiting for that ping. That's the gap. That's where I want every driver watching this to make sure they're covered. Now, let me go province by province because this works differently depending on where you're driving. Alberta, where I'm based. Alberta was actually the first province in Canada to get rideshare-specific insurance approved. Uber's commercial policy here is backed by economical insurance. Lyft's is backed by Aviva. Both provide $2 million in third-party liability once you accept a trip. But for Uber drivers, remember, coverage starts at trip acceptance, not login. So get the SEF 6A added to your personal policy. It's not optional if you want to be properly covered. Ontario. Ontario got rideshare insurance approved in 2016, and actually, Uber's policy in Ontario is better than Alberta in one way. Their coverage starts the moment you log into the app, not just when you accept a trip. So the period 1 gap I talked about is smaller in Ontario, but you still need to add the OPCF 6A to your personal policy to make sure you're properly bridged. Multiple platforms are covered in Ontario: Uber, Lyft, Rideco, and others. British Columbia. BC is different because they have ICBC, which is the government insurer. There's no private market shopping around for insurance here. ICBC handles it. They have something called a blanket certificate for rideshare drivers. Lyft in BC requires $5 million in commercial liability when you have a passenger in your car, and ICBC covers that through a partnership with the platform. If you're in BC, go talk to ICBC directly. They'll walk you through exactly what you need. Quebec. Quebec has SAAQ that handles the no-fault accident benefit side of things, but you still need private insurance for liability and the rest. Quebec actually raised their rideshare liability minimum to $2 million, and you'll need your personal insurer to know you're doing this. Same rule applies everywhere. Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Both of these provinces have government monopoly insurers, MPI in Manitoba, SJI in Saskatchewan. Similar to BC, you go to your provincial insurer directly and ask about rideshare coverage. They've got options. Atlantic Canada, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and PEI. Rideshare is available in Atlantic Canada too. The specific endorsement you need varies by province, so call your broker and ask specifically about rideshare coverage. Don't assume they'll bring it up on their own, because a lot of them don't. All right, I want to make this really practical because I've given you a lot of information and I don't want you to leave this video not knowing what to do with it. Here's exactly what I'd tell a friend who just started driving rideshare. First thing, call your insurance provider today. Tell them you drive for Uber or Lyft. I know a lot of drivers avoid this because they're scared their premium is going to jump. But here's the reality. If you don't tell them and you get into an accident, they can deny your claim or cancel your policy. That's a way bigger problem than a small rate increase. Second thing, ask about the rideshare endorsement. In Alberta, it's the SEF 6A. In Ontario, it's the OPCF 6A. This one endorsement fills the period 1 gap. It's usually not expensive, and it's the most important thing you can add to your policy as a rideshare driver. Third thing, actually read the platform's insurance document. I know, nobody reads insurance documents, but go to Uber's or Lyft's website, find the insurance policy document for your province, and look at the coverage limits. Specifically, check whether collision and comprehensive coverage is included, because for most platforms, it's contingent, meaning it only applies if you already have it on your personal policy. If you've got a basic personal policy with no collision coverage, the platform's contingent coverage doesn't help you. Fourth thing, make sure rideshare is actually legal in your area. Every major city in Canada allows it, but some smaller municipalities don't. If you're driving in a place where rideshare isn't approved, no insurance is going to protect you because you're operating illegally. Let me just say this before I wrap up. I talk to a lot of rideshare drivers, and the ones who treat insurance as something they'll sort out later are the ones I worry about the most. I get it. When you're starting out, you're thinking about earning money, not about what happens if something goes wrong. But I've seen what a single accident without proper coverage does to someone financially. It's not just the car repairs, it's the liability if someone got hurt, the legal costs, the income you lose while your car is off the road. It adds up fast. An endorsement on your personal policy costs you maybe $20 to $40 a month. One serious accident without coverage could cost you more than you've made driving all year. The fact that you're watching this video means you're already being smarter about it than most drivers out there. Take one action today, just one. Call your insurer and tell them you drive rideshare. That one call could save you everything. If this video helped you, hit like.